Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not spending 5 nights at a local Chuck E. Cheese and just feeling kinda sad about their failing business model, I'm at the Wolfula reviewing movies. Another year, another lack of movies to watch. Everything's gotten pushed back for release now at least once, even the film I have for you all today, Willy's Wonderland. This movie was supposed to come out in theaters in October 2020, but instead, they made the brilliant business decision of releasing this film digitally on demand anyway, but in February 2021 instead, when people are interested in horny instead of horror. So what do you get for your $20 rental? You get another 5 Nights at Freddy's mockbuster, but this time starring Nicolas Cage. When you see Nicolas Cage on the cover, you never know what to expect, because that man doesn't say no to a movie role. I could probably get Nic Cage to appear in one of these videos if I offered him half a Diet Coke. Hey, get out of here, it's mine! Even more than that god-awful Banana Splits movie released 2 years ago, Willy's Wonderland is very explicitly a ripoff of 5 Nights at Freddy's, not only stealing the basic premise, but also much of the backstory directly from the games. I'm definitely not a fan of those games, but it does say something about their popularity when, in the absence of an official movie, we're getting these great value imitation films trying to make money while there's still money to be made. And you know, I can respect that, and at least Willy's Wonderland is bringing more star power with Nicolas Cage than the last Pretender did with 50-year-old Hanna-Barbera characters. At least we've seen Nicolas Cage in things for the last 20 years. You're probably desperate for a horror movie, and, admittedly, the horror genre has a lot of copycats anyway, so that's negligible. Is Willy's Wonderland passable as entertainment enough to spend $20 just to rent it? Probably not, but I'm gonna review it anyway. Just a warning, this review is going to have minor plot spoilers throughout, but I won't be giving away any of the major twists or the ending. The opening of the movie seems like it could just be a Chevy commercial until the spike strip cuts the product placement short. The film itself centers around, well, Nicolas Cage, who plays a silent drifter with a taste for purple drink, a man with no name, unless his name is literally just the janitor like the credits say. Nicolas Cage is pretty transparently being scammed, and I don't necessarily mean by the producers of this movie. A tow truck arrives right away and the drifter has to pay the grifter $1,000 to repair the car.
I can fix it about $1,000.
Which is no problem since Nicolas Cage is a thousandaire, but the town has no functioning ATMs or internet connection, which means they can't even stream this movie. Probably for the best.
Oh, cash only, and in advance.
Still, Nicolas Cage is forced to work as an indentured servant to pay off his debt by spending one night in a haunted theme restaurant, owned by a Colonel Sanders wannabe named Tex McAdoo.
My name is Tex, same as the state. Got the handle McAdoo.
Which feels like an outlandish name even by ostentatious Texan businessman standards. And so, yeah, Nicolas Cage is tasked with patching up the shutdown restaurant overnight, with its varying animatronic furry performers led by Willy Weasel in a state of disrepair after some supposed lawsuits over the safety of the restaurant.
A couple of lawsuits later from mommy's safety organizations, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Out of business.
And, yeah, Nicolas Cage does some janitorial work, which quite a bit of the film is dedicated to with montages, but in between his chores, Cage gets accosted by the animatronic furries, and, he fights them without any hesitation, but not only that, he beats the fuck out of them effortlessly. Afterwards, Cage just bags up their mangled robotic corpses and gets back to his job without another thought. It's like Nicolas Cage is used to this kind of thing, like he fights haunted animatronics every day. It's just another part of the job. Is this a documentary? It's honestly the version of 5 Nights at Freddy's I think anybody would rather play, where you just get to curb stomp these shitty puppets. The fact that Nic Cage just fights the animatronics and doesn't cower from them is where the film admittedly diverges from the game it's ripping off, and honestly, it's an improvement, but it makes the movie impossible to take seriously as a horror film.
Gorilla greetings.
Not that Willy's Wonderland doesn't still try to be a horror film, of course. The movie integrates an unnecessary Scooby-Doo gang into the plot, a group of teenage victims that are totally unrelated to Nicolas Cage, who fall into the typical slasher trope characters.
I like it myself. I call it No Clue. How much THC's in it? No clue.
A couple of jocks, a nerd, a stoner, a slut, and the survivor girl named Viv, who is the only one of these characters that matters.
This isn't for your entertainment, okay? It's for doing what's right.
The teens are the worst part of the movie. Anytime things switch from Nick, you're in for a bad time, where you have to suffer through actual dialogue. Dialogue that's bad and out of touch, performed by actors that can't make it work.
Kissing that ass ain't gonna get you that ass, playboy. it'll more than likely get you killed.
The gang is dedicated to ridding the world of Willy's Wonderland and the horrors within, but coincidentally, Nicolas Cage is inside the restaurant working for his $1,000 on the day the group finally decides to burn the joint down.
I'm sorry, but I'm just not okay with letting somebody burn alive in there if we can do something about it.
So Viv tries to rescue the guy, and the other 5 future dead bodies fall through the restaurant's roof. So, of course, they all split up and search for clues. When the movie goes out of its way to attempt being a horror film, it's where the weaknesses of the writing show the most, where the characters are lazily underwritten even by the standards of a slasher movie. For instance, one of the jocks and the slut decide to have a clothed sex scene, like this is the GTA San Andreas hot coffee mod. But it doesn't make sense why, because they already know that the animatronics are alive and kill people, but while having sex, they totally forget that. At least in Friday the 13th movies, the characters who have sex don't know Jason is around killing people.
Look, I want to see them freak bastards die for what I see them do.
Yeah, the teen characters are bad, and they feel like they were only thrown in for the sake of having a body count in the film because they're all killed in the space of about 15 minutes, and the deaths aren't even all that good. While the teens are alive, though, they do deliver the backstory of the restaurant to Nicolas Cage, who doesn't even really listen to it. It's basically just for the benefit of the audience.
Have you been listening to a word I've been saying?
25 years ago, Willy's Wonderland was open to the families of Hayesville, and behind the scenes, the owner and all the employees of the restaurant were actually cannibalistic serial killers who made certain families in the area disappear, and apparently they killed whole families for a while too. You'd think the cops would investigate the last place these people were seen at sooner, but no.
After numerous missing persons reports, the law felt it was time to investigate.
By the time the cops do show up, the restaurant staff performed a satanic suicide ritual where they've transferred their souls into their animatronic fursonas.
The suicide ritual was some sort of a Catra transfer energy.
I'm not gonna lie, when this part of the backstory was revealed, I laughed my ass off, but it's played totally straight.
Animatronic robots.
So yeah, clearly in a movie titled Willy's Wonderland, the writing is terrible, but I think the director, Kevin Lewis, was aware the movie had a weak script, so he made as much of the film as possible center around accentuating Nicolas Cage, and Cage saves what would have been an unwatchable movie, which is the case usually. Now, Nicolas Cage unusually has no dialogue at all in this movie.
Yeah, he don't talk much.
And I respect that.
He's like a silent protagonist in a video game. He just never talks. At first, I thought this was a negative because it seems weird to cast Nicolas Cage in a movie like this and not have him deliver some crazy dialogue. But after hearing the dialogue of the other characters, I don't think the writer of this film could give even Nicolas Cage dialogue worth saying. So Cage is silent, and he does a great job given little to nothing to work with, and he ends up being the most compelling thing about the movie. The character's backstory isn't delved into. He has no motivation beyond getting his car fixed, and his fighting skills, along with his nonplussed reactions to the killer animatronics, aren't explained at all. The mystery is what draws you in. The dude is just going through a strict routine throughout the film where he efficiently performs some chores, drinks Great Punch soda, plays a round of pinball, and then immediately follows all of this up with a methodical ass-beating of animatronic freaks. Witnessing Nicolas Cage put his all into performing these actions is the true magic of Willy's Wonderland, and the movie ends up being enjoyable to watch just because of him. I didn't care about the lazily conceived animatronic villains at all. I just wanted to see Cage destroy them. So yeah, Willy's Wonderland is a surprisingly mostly watchable Five Nights at Freddy's mockbuster because of Nicolas Cage. Shocker, I know. But is it worth going out of your way to rent right now? Not in the slightest. Wait to watch it until the rental price gets low or until it ends up on Shudder or some other streaming service. Cause make no mistake, Willy's Wonderland is made decent because of Nicolas Cage, but that's still no reason to pay top dollar to watch it given the little effort put into everything else about it. I give Willy's Wonderland Nicolas Cage drinking soda out of Nicolas Cage playing pinball. Now I want to watch a 90-minute movie of Nic Cage just playing pinball.
Willy needs to eat, and I'm gonna feed him.
If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, journey further into the Wolfula by clicking the subscribe and bell buttons to find out when all of my latest videos and streams go live. This video was brought to you by my kind supporters on Patreon, whose names are scrolling by. Support the channel today on Patreon and get access to bonus movie and TV commentaries, audiobooks, comic readings, film live streams, and credits at the end of videos. Finally, I'd like to give a very special thanks to my true Wolfula supporters on Patreon and my YouTube channel members memberships for their pledges. Their support is greatly appreciated and helps the channel and my dark influence continue to grow. Thank you all once more from the bottom of my evil heart for your help. Alrighty, Dr. Wolfula signing out. See you all next time at the Wolfula.